Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Hey Rob, how are you, man?
Good, thanks. What's the best thing you guys have been able to get accomplished here since you've been all back in the building?
The best thing? There's so much good going on right now. To be honest with you, I just think being around one another. I think these guys, you can feel the energy, you can feel the urgency, especially when us as coaches get out on the field with these guys. These guys definitely, I think they missed each other. I think they care about each other, and they miss football.
Hey, Matt.
Hey,
Um,
Jim.
yeah, you mentioned the other day about how unique it was to call up the team and have to do that in a different way. Um, how have you tried to convey your message this year to this team, and create some of that buy-in that guys really got from you in that first sort of in-person meeting last year? How have you tried to recreate that and really connect with these guys here in the early going?
Yeah, so we've had one live team meeting. A lot of that stuff has transpired throughout the course of the off season, and even when they first reported to camp, although it was virtual, but I think more or less just being around these guys, I think that not only myself but our coaches have a good feel for everybody that's coming back, and then just trying to get to know these new guys and get them kind of ingrained in how we operate as quickly as possible.
Hi, Matt.
Hey, Tom.
I was curious. So during this off season, are you the type of guy who tried to plan for every possible scenario that could pop up through all of this? Did you have like a situation room where you just brainstormed over, okay, if we're all out of tight ends or if we're all out of running backs, what do we do? Was that an exercise, or are you more able to just go with the flow and deal with it when it happens?
Well, I think initially a lot of the planning that was taking place was as far as schedules, and it seemed like things were changing every minute, and so I kind of scrapped that after a while. But yeah, no, that's definitely something that we've been mindful of, because you just don't know what's going to happen, and you have got to be ready to adjust at a moment's notice. And as long as we have we got to find a way to get 11 guys out there on the field in all three phases. So yeah, we feel pretty fortunate. Got a great group of coaches around us, and we will be pretty fluid.
I know it's obviously early for any kind of specific football question, but I'm curious, when you look at the configuration of your offensive line, is Billy Turner someone you'd like to see take tackle reps in camp, with the idea that he might be a top backup if injuries are to come at tackle, or would your overwhelming preference be to just keep him at that guard spot?
Ryan, I think that that's a work in progress. We're going to try to, like I said the other day, is find the best combination of the five, and we feel pretty good about Billy's ability to play anywhere on the line. He's played tackle before, so that definitely is a great safety valve. But ultimately, it's about finding the best five that fit together.
Hi, Matt. Good to see you. Thanks for the time. Considering the acclimation period that's running up to non-contact practices and eventual padded work, are you structuring your practices any differently to account for that because of the limited amount of time you're still going to get on the field?
Yeah, I think that's something that we're still kind of working through. Definitely looking down the line. I think a lot of it is going to depend on our health, how we structure our practices. Certainly the NFL has guidelines for us and kind of parameters for how we start out. But, that's just, you got to get a feel for your team, where they are at in that specific moment, and adjust accordingly. If it's something where we need to implement a little bit more banging or tackling, that we'll adjust, and we'll be ready for that.
Hey, Coach. Earlier this offseason, we saw Devontae Adams on an NFL Films piece where he was kind of breaking down different plays with Brian Baldinger. And one play in particular, he talked about the Seattle touchdown in the playoffs, running it out of 3 tight ends. And he mentioned turning to you and saying, "Matt, are you crazy?" I was wondering, how important is it, or how good is it to have successless stuff like that, where your guys maybe are wondering what the heck you're thinking, to get not only buy-in, but then to have it on tape for them as you head into a year without an off-season program where you can point to it and go, look, this stuff works?
Well, yeah, I appreciate the question, Aaron. I think definitely anytime you can have success, that definitely raises everybody's confidence level, especially us as coaches. And then it definitely bleeds over to our players. You know, we feel pretty fortunate that we have a good group of guys where we can be pretty multiple on offense and pretty versatile. So we've got a lot of confidence in those guys for their ability to go out, take a play, and really make it come to life. So that's a credit to our players.
Matt, a couple of weeks ago, Kevin King posted a song that he and Manny Wilkins had produced, and it was pretty good. And I replied, hey, maybe DJ Joe will slip that into practice someday. And Manny replied, actually, Coach LaFleur played one of my songs last season. It's one of my proudest moments ever. Talk about those decisions as a coach for players to share the stage. And, you know, you talk about buy-in. That's a pretty good example.
Yeah, Mike. No, I've got a lot of respect for Manny. You know, he definitely busted his butt while he was here, and I see he's doing great things in the music profession. He played that song for us, and anytime we can incorporate our players' work within what we're doing and let them have a little fun, get a little exposure with amongst their teammates, I think that's great. A great morale boost for our team, and we're always looking to do things such as that.
I'm just wondering, with the possibility of playing in front of no fans or limited fans, do you have a sense that might impact some teams more than others? I'm wondering if, like, teams that are used to playing in front of really, really vocal crowds or in front of in domed stadiums, could they be impacted, do you think, more than teams that maybe traditionally don't have as much of a home field advantage in terms of the crowd?
Yeah, Steve, I think that definitely can weigh in, and it's something that none of us have really experienced at this level. Guys are going to really have to dig deep and find that energy, because a lot of players feed off the fans. And I know there's certain stadiums that you walk into in this league, and it is definitely, there's a home field advantage, but you know, we'll see. We'll make the adjustments. We are going to try to have a few scrimmage situations within Lambeau just to get our guys used to that feel.
Hey, Matt, I know this is part of your job, but thanks for doing it anyway. We do appreciate it. We talked to Devontae earlier today. Two-part question. One, given how good he is, what does he give your offense? But also, when you juxtapose that with the inexperience, with what else you've got, both at wide receiver and to some degree at tight end, what's the burden on him? And you talk about trying to figure out what your team is. How much do you have to figure out at wide receiver going forward?
Yeah, thanks, Jason. Well, first of all, Devontae is a legitimate premier number one receiver in this league. He's a guy that, no matter what the situation, no matter who he's playing against, we feel really, really confident that he can go win his one-on-one. And, you know, he's a big leader for this team. A lot of guys, they feed off his energy, and everybody's looking at him as a veteran player, how he goes about his business. He's a true pro. He puts that work in each and every day. And to me, it's obviously he's got great talent, but there's a reason he's elevated his game to the level at which it's at right now, and that's because of his work ethic. And I know our guys, our young guys within that receiving core and throughout our whole team are going to look at him for leadership and guidance and to try to become the best player that they can become.
Matt, last season, Mike Pettin talked a bit about how losing Raven Green so early kind of hurt the defense and that you had to play a couple guys out of position at that dime linebacker role. How is getting him back healthy, assuming he is healthy for this season, going to help you guys with some flexibility there on the back end?
Yeah, no, that was definitely a big loss. You know, Raven's a really versatile player. He whether it's at dime linebacker or, you know, in the safety position, we've got a lot of confidence in him and his ability to, you know, help communication on the back end. play his responsibilities to the best of his level. And we're really looking forward to seeing what he can put together this season.
Hey, Matt, thanks so much for taking the time today. I'm just wondering how confident that you are that Jordan Love can come in and compete for a backup quarterback spot, and how comfortable ultimately would you be if he had to be the backup game one with no preseason games, limited training camp, no OTAs, etc.
Yeah, well, it's kind of hard to say right now because we're in the infancy stages of this. We've only had him here for a couple of days, and it's not everything that we've done up to this point has been walked through. So I think that's something that we're going to keep on pressing on him to have that urgency to go out and making sure that he gets better each and every day, and realize that when you're in that backup role, whether you're the 2 or the 3, you're only a couple plays away. So you've got to be ready when the time's called.
Hey, Matt, just wanted to clarify something, and I'm sorry if this was out there and I missed it, but with no staying at St. Norbert, I know your veteran guys that have places are allowed to stay at home, but what are you doing with the rookies and guys who may not have a place to live?
Yeah, Rob. So our rookies we put them up in a local hotel around here, and that's where they're staying through the duration of training camp.
Matt, with the squad split in half, and I think players are allowed 8 hours maximum inside the facility. How are you splitting that up? Are you guys staying in the building 16 hours a day to deal with the first 45 and then the next 45, or how does that work?
Well, at the present moment, we are at 80, so we were able to have everybody in today, but we know that we've got to be fluid with this. We've got a couple guys on the COVID list, and we've got 2 schedules just in case things change and somebody can come back into the fold.
Matt, you talked, I think it was on Sunday the last time you talked about guys taking personal responsibility and really making sure they're doing the right things, whether it's with the pandemic now that you've had the guys in the building for a couple of days, or with the social justice thing. Other than the typical leaders, are there some guys that you'd like to mention that have really taken this seriously and responsibly and have really taken that next step of leadership and been team leaders, so to speak?
Yeah, we've listened to quite a few guys. I mean, there are a lot of quality leaders on this team. I think as we progress throughout this, we'll see more and more. But, a guy like Christian Kirksey has definitely been pretty vocal. It's great to have him. You can definitely see that he's been in this league for a while and why he's a pro. Will Redmond's another guy that outside of our leadership council who've really spoken up and done a really nice job for us.
Matt, I'm wondering, do you have to, you're obviously focused on the day-to-day and just getting through the uncertainty that you're dealing with, but I know how excited you were to do different things with year 2 of your offense. So are you kind of experimenting or thinking about those things when you do have some free time? And how are you going to go about actually trying to expand it when everything is so messed up right now?
Yeah, I think that's the magic question. That's something that we're trying to work through. Feel really confident with just our production in the off season, the communication with myself, with our offensive coaches, with Aaron, and the rest of the guys, that we're really going to zero in on the things that we thought we did well. Obviously, there's some things that we definitely have to improve upon, especially in some situations, particularly third down. We have got to find ways to move the sticks. It was not up to our standard, but I think it is a fine line with how much new do you implement and how much do you just refine and get better at the things that you did from last season.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Last season, as a first-year head coach, you were dealing with an Achilles injury, and that taxes you mentally and physically, for anybody with a new job. What have you done this year in, a challenging year 2 to relax a little bit and prepare for the season yourself?
Well, we definitely had a long time at home to relax with the family, and took a little vacation before we started going again. But, the one thing that it definitely afforded, I guess, not being in the building, was working out with Chris Gizzy almost every day and really rehabbing to try to get my weak calf back. It still does not look right. It still does not look good, but it's functional. So I can run around and move on the field. And that's what makes coaching so much fun is just getting out there and running around with the guys.
Matt, you mentioned looking at the things that you needed to improve on from last year. And obviously you are coming off a very unusual offseason where you didn't get to do any on-field stuff. Do you have to guard against, I don't know, micromanaging your staff a little bit, just because you do want to get these things corrected, you do want to develop, you do want to move forward, and you obviously know better than anybody the areas that need improvement. Do you have any pent-up energy that you feel you got to maybe hold back on because, like I said, you just haven't been around these guys for so long?
Well, to tell you the truth, this offseason was great because it really allowed we did a lot of our meetings were pre-recorded and we'd push them out to the guys' iPads. And so I had access to those as well. And it gave me a lot of confidence in our coach's ability to articulate exactly what we want taught and the why behind it. So there wasn't a lot of micromanaging going on. Those guys really took the lead. We've got a lot of technically savvy coaches, much more savvy than myself. Nathaniel Hackett kind of led the way for us. And then same with both on defense and on special teams. I thought, Pettin and Sean Menega did a great job leading their side of the ball. And it really afforded me that opportunity to kind of sit in everybody's meetings and just gave me more confidence that we've got the right guys in the building to echo and give the message, teach the way what we want taught.